بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. This is Tayyaba Sabir, and today I'll be continuing the topic Jahez, the drawbacks. And in this particular audio, I'll be talking about father-in-law. You see, as father or father-in-law, wherever there's the word father is, it implies a real big responsibility holder, someone as a head of that particular unit of the family. And this man has, be it in-law or just father, he has a lot of guidance that he needs to do for those under him, be it the mother-in-law, be it the sisters, or the girl, or the son that's getting married. So when dowry, when we have this custom of dowry, the natural inclination towards someone who does good to us is to be gratefulness and appreciate that. Yet when dowry is taken by the boy's family, they cannot feel that. They have to, they normally, you must have seen, they normally have a feeling of entitlement. They have an attitude, a way of speaking, and it projects entitlement. And this man, the father-in-law, whose responsibility is to guide his son, who's going to start his life and who's going to bear his grandchildren, inshallah khair, on the right footing, and tell him what right his daughter-in-law to be has upon his son, what right his children will have, how he needs to take care of them, and how he needs to get busy with his different projects, or look for some job, or have his career in place, or even if he's struggling, this father-in-law needs to guide his son to in the right track. Yet because of this custom, our father-in-laws are busy projecting that feeling of entitlement on the son, so where he didn't get any of that from his own parents. I mean, no fancy furnitures, maybe in some cases cars or properties or a different house, and things which are very nice to have, which normally nobody, if they didn't feel someone was oppressed, nobody would reject it if it was just a gift. Yet this son, who does definitely feel grateful and appreciative towards his in-laws, he cannot show that. He has to have that. He has to maintain the feeling of entitlement. And the father-in-law, instead of all the important things that he needed to do to groom his son for starting the new marriage, the new phase of his life, he is busy trying to maintain the air of entitlement and confirm and convince his son that this all is being given to the daughter. They're not doing any favors to you. They're just doing it for the daughter. Which anyone with the right mind, or anyone with an honest heart, would know that no, okay, the whole furniture and 7 sitters, or the dining table and all the chairs of that dining table are not going to be used by this one person. The double bed is not going to be used by just the daughter, and so on and so forth. So while he's doing that, while he's training his son to feel entitled to all that, you see, what we parents must have learned, regardless of what age our child is, if you're teaching the child to disrespect the maids or be disrespectful towards the grandparents, it is eventually going to be coming back to you. You see, once a boundary is drawn, it's human nature to have it drawn for everyone. or do not have it for anyone. We cannot expect our children to respect us and not respect the maids, or not respect the maids and respect us, because it's just a part of training. You train them, and then if you have trained them to respect you or everyone else, that training of respect gets improves with everyone that they respect. But if you teach them to disrespect someone, that training of disrespect starts at, or you accept it. Nobody trains their children to disrespect, but they accept it, or they ignore it, or they just turn a blind eye to it because it doesn't matter. It's just a maid. Why should she be thanked for giving a glass of water or apologized to? She's just a maid. So, but we don't realize that while our son or daughter are doing that to that particular person, they're learning how to do that, how to disrespect, or how to be ungrateful, or how to be unappreciative. And once the son is being taught that by his own parents, and um, their attitude of entitlement, they are just teaching him how to feel entitled, and that treatment is eventually going to be um, uh, done towards the wife, the daughter-in-law who's coming, and later on it's going to be projected towards the parents who've taught it themselves. It's not just one way. It's not going to be held with that. You've just put in a bad quality, a bad trait of unappreciating, of ungratefulness towards a kind gesture, or so much of um, so much of furniture, or all the dowry, or just a whole life saving of, in most cases where it's just one daughter, it's mostly all of the savings are given to that daughter. And then we fail as parents, and we fail as parents-in-law to train our sons to be respectful, to be appreciative towards the new family that he's acquiring. So this feeling of entitlement just curbs that responsibility which naturally comes in when this man is about to start a family, and he's about to have a wife and his own family, and where he needed to be in tuned to her needs, he is he's being groomed to feel entitled and take up whatever is given to him, and not be appreciative or grateful. This bit where he's how this dowry affects him, I'm going to be discussing it in the next audios. But where the father-in-laws fail is this, and in most cases, some father-in-laws come up with the list if they're the dominant of the two, the mother-in-law or and the father-in-law. If the father is dominant of the two, then he comes up with the list, or starts dropping suggestions in a manipulative way, and he's losing respect in front of in the eyes of those present from the girl's side. But since it's in the beginning, it's all very rosy, and no one has done any harm, or no one has been bad to the other person, and everyone wants it to get on a right footing, although all the wrong things are being accepted to just get it on the right footing. This man is losing respect, not just in the eyes of the parents of the girls, but eventually when the news of what the father-in-law suggested, or what lists he brought, or in the eyes of their daughter-in-law to be, because nobody likes it. No girl has the acceptance towards someone who's expecting their homes to be filled with the life savings of their parents, or to be ending up in a place where they felt that it was the job of her parents to fill up their home because she was getting married in there, and and they didn't have anything of their own, or they were in so much need. And in some places, unfortunately, in some places, people really do leave their homes empty for years, regardless of, while ignoring their real, genuine needs. Because eventually, when the sons would grow up, they'll bring in the Jahez and there should be space. And all of a sudden, you can see the difference. All of a sudden, this empty place with lots of, with so much space to roam around is filled up after years and years with so much furniture. They were just waiting. It's just very, in case of some, it's a very vicious cycle that forms with the list. Once one list is completed and they've taken care of it, some few things that get added up again, then some other demands creep up on the day itself, where there are really very bad people involved, and the research and the psychology says that if you find this vicious circle happening, just part your ways right away, because this is the circle that's going to continue. And you must have seen, you must have come across a lot of examples around you where there is like now the couple has children, and yet the family is busy, the boy's family or the boy himself is busy asking things from the girl's side, and those poor people are also a part of the circle, so they are just pinching pennies and, you know, trying to make ends meet while meeting the demands of this family. So please, while you're getting your sons or daughters married, actually in case of daughters mostly, if you see this happening, if you see one, if you're going to meet one demand and then the other one would creep up, please, it's a cycle. You need to part your ways, regardless of how good you think they are or how good the son is. This is a cycle that is going to be there for a lifetime, and no one has enough to just keep on, you know, fulfilling others' demands. So this vicious circle, some father-in-laws are responsible for creating, because they make it very easy in the beginning for the sons to make demands and start posing to the parents-in-law of that man. And when this child was young, if he demanded something from his own parents, they would see it as pestering, and if it wasn't genuine, they would straight away say no, and he would know that he's not going to get it. But now that he's a grown-up man and his demands are illogical and irrational, but he's going to be married and someone else's pocket is going to be affected, their saving is going to be affected. So this father-in-law just goes up to them and tells them whatever illogical, irrational demand that his son has now made or his wife has now made, and he expects them to fulfill it, because not a single of his penny is going to be affected. So these are some of the things that I jot down, and I realized this is the drawback of getting and how it is acquired through father-in-laws, and how it affects their position and their position of being the elderly and the wise of the house, the head of their own household, and how it plays a relation which should have been respected, which has tremendous respect. Like we cannot teach respect to our children for their grandparents if we don't ourselves have it. So it is not a very small loss in that frame of time. It's a loss that's going to continue into next generation, because once you're losing that respect with the daughter-in-law, she will not be able to, no matter how hard she tries. Babies are very quick and they're very good with body language. They will pick up right away if the mother really respects the father-in-law or the mother-in-law. So it is very important to maintain that respect and to have empathy towards the parents of the girls, and to teach your son gratefulness, and to really guide them with the responsibility that they are ready to face. And in most cases, men are ready to face. They want to take up the challenge. They want to support their own family, and they would have done a great job if if they weren't started on a wrong footing. You cannot make a wobbly foundation and expect it to support a lot of load of a big tall building. So may Allah help us know the importance of the foundations, and may He help us have the faith in Him, and the faith in our children, and the faith in the cases of this, the father-in-laws and the mother-in-laws, the faith in their own sons, in their upbringing. You have spent so many years growing this man, and in case of those people looking at the empty spaces to be filled by the dowry of this daughter-in-law, had you instead worked on those and looked at those spaces and thought of, this is what my son will bring in, and he will do his part, and I need to get him ready for it, all the years work would have paid itself, and your son might have gotten you far ahead and much more than what the girl's dowry brought in. And the injustice that we start our children's life with, the oppression, it will have its effects. We cannot expect that that's a custom, everyone's doing it, so we'll be off the hook. Everyone must be doing it, but their faults and their sins are not upon us, ours are. The oppression they have done to their families and their lasting effects are what they are going to be dealing with. If we do the same, then only we get affected, and we do get affected. In the next coming up audios, I'll be speaking about the boy individually, the girl individually, and the drawbacks on the couple as a whole, and eventually which affect them being responsible parents to the next generation, inshallah khair. Assalamu alaikum. I hope we all together, one woman in her home, one sister-in-law, one mother-in-law, one sister, we can just convince our elders to just, shatter these idols that we are holding under our armpits, like the Quraysh, and let them go and trust Allah. Just trust Allah and see how it changes our lives. Assalamu alaikum.